He changed his way of wielding his sword and reached a new level of swordsmanship. It was obvious that he had improved a lot within the time that Dustin was away. While Maximus was focused on training, a silver needle suddenly flew at him. It was aimed at his chest. Maximus' gaze zeroed in on it as he turned around and struck the needle with his sword. He sliced off the tip of the needle. The needle was sent flying to the ground. "Who is it? Show yourself." Maximus stared at a large tree in the yard, pointing his sword at it. "You've improved so much in the few months I've been away." Dustin slowly emerged from behind the tree, smiling. Deflecting his needle wasn't something any other divine-level martial artist could do. "Dustin." Maximus was first taken aback before he broke out into a grin. "You're finally back." Then, throwing his sword aside, he rushed up to Dustin and hugged him tightly. All right, that'll do. What would people say if they saw two grown men hugging like this?" Dustin said awkwardly. "Caitlin, come on out. Look who's back." Maximus shouted. "Mr. Reese." Caitlin came running, surprised to see him. "When did you return, Mr. Reese? Why didn't you inform us beforehand?" "I just got back," Dustin smiled. "How have you both been?" "We've been great. Every day has been peaceful, and we have all we need." Caitlin smiled. This peaceful life was all that she'd ever wished for. "Dustin, I've reached a new level within just 3 months, and with Gregory's guidance, I'm improving daily," Maximus said proudly. "I can see that," Dustin nodded, looking very pleased. Though Maximus had just reached the divine level, his true ability was on par with those martial artists who had long since reached the divine level. He was truly a genius swordmaster. "How's Gregory?" Dustin asked. "Same old. He still drinks himself into oblivion every day." Maximus sounded helpless. "I'll go check in on him." Dustin chuckled as he made his way into the medical center. Gregory laid haphazardly on an easy chair, disheveled and reeking of alcohol. He even had drool running down the corner of his mouth. He was the perfect example of a drunkard. "Gregory, wake up. Dustin's back." Maximus approached and tried to shake him awake, but Gregory remained motionless. Gregory. Maximus shook him even harder, but he still didn't respond. "Here, let me do it." Dustin crouched and whispered to Gregory. "Gregory, someone stole your vodka." Gregory's eyes shot open immediately as he sat right up. "Who did it? Which bastard stole my vodka?" he roared. Then, his gaze swept around the place, giving off a killing intent. It wasn't until he saw the faint smile on Dustin's face that he knew what was going on. "Oh, get lost, you little brat," Gregory huffed. Then, he made himself comfortable on the easy chair and got ready to sleep again. "Come on, stop sleeping. I've got serious business." Dustin took out 2 wooden boxes and placed them on the table. One had the 1,000-year green lotus, and the other had the cherusia. "I've made a decent haul in Millsburg this time. The last 2 remaining herbs are here. I can start producing the longevitum now." "Oh, so soon?" Gregory sat up lazily. "I thought my days were numbered." "Who'd have thought that you actually managed to collect all the herbs? How fortunate." "Enough with your nonsense. Go bring out all the herbs we collected from before," Dustin urged. All right. I'll go get them." Gregory stretched sluggishly before searching through several drawers and cupboards. It took him a while to find all the herbs that he'd hidden away. "Maximus, guard the door. Nobody is allowed to enter," Dustin instructed Maximus. "Yes, sir." Maximus brought a chair and sat in front of the door, both hands on his sword. He looked around warily. "Caitlin, go get me these herbs." Dustin wrote down a list of needed herbs and passed it to Caitlin. Peaceful Medical Center rarely had patients, so they didn't keep many herbs. "Okay." Caitlin nodded and quickly left with the list. Soon, she came running back breathlessly, carrying the herbs with her. "From now on, I'll need to lock myself away to focus on producing the longevitum. I'm not sure how long it'll take, but no one is to disturb me before I come out." With that instruction, Dustin turned and entered the medical room. He did not jump headfirst into making the pill. Instead, he took out an ancient manuscript and began studying it. The ninefold longevitum, better known as longevitum, had miraculous reviving properties. According to the manuscript, it was also the only medicine to cure the celestial decay. But for centuries, no one had produced it successfully. That was because the herbs needed were too rare to find. and the process of producing them was complex. Even with Dustin's exceptional alchemy skills, he still wasn't confident he could produce it. He had no choice but to study the recipe repeatedly to avoid any mistakes. After ensuring nothing was missing, Dustin sat on the ground and meditated for half an hour. He finally started making the pill when he felt rejuvenated and was at his peak state. Though this was Dustin's first time making the Longevitum, his actions were practiced. He did not need to pause to check the recipe. That was because he had already repeatedly played out all the steps in his head. As he lit the fire, the fragrance of herbs fluttered out from the alchemy furnace. Dustin put the herbs into it one by one. At the same time, he had to use his true energy to control the fire. Alchemy was delicate work. Every detail was important to ensure the end product. From the age of the herbs and the technique used to the quality of the furnace, the temperature within the furnace, and even the sequence in which the herbs were added would affect the outcome. Now that we have the Longevitum, you should be cured of the celestial decay in no time. Try it. Dustin handed Gregory the pill. Let's not rush things. Such a momentous event must be celebrated with something nice. Gregory rubbed his hands together gleefully before rushing to the garden behind the medical center. With a hoe in hand, he began digging in one of the corners of the garden. After some time, he dug out 3 tightly sealed bottles. Those were his treasured vodka that he had kept hidden away. He couldn't even bring himself to drink them without a good reason. But today was a day that was worthy of them. My precious, you have all waited long, haven't you? Gregory chuckled in delight as he carried them. The moment he opened the bottles, a strong aroma of alcohol filled the room. Gregory took a deep breath, getting lost in the aroma. Come everyone, I'm in an amazing mood today. I'll share my vodka with all of you. As Gregory spoke, he set 3 tiny shot glasses on the table. Then, he carefully poured a little vodka into each glass. Afraid to waste even a single drop, Dustin frowned. Why was he serving them so little? Was he afraid that they'd be poisoned by the vodka? Go on, don't be shy. Drink up. Gregory spoke like he was being generous. But after pouring them the 3 tiny glasses, he picked up the entire bottle and began chugging on the remaining alcohol. Gregory had no plans to let them drink more of his vodka. Apart from the 3 tiny shot glasses he poured, Dustin, Maximus, and Caitlin exchanged looks of disbelief. In the end, Gregory finished the remaining vodka himself. That was some good vodka. Gregory burped after he was done drinking. He looked refreshed and in high spirits. Now that he was happy and content, he picked up the Longevitum and swallowed it. With a gulp, the Longevitum slid down his throat, giving out a burst of golden energy. It coursed through his entire body. The energy contained a strong and vibrant vitality, nourishing Gregory's body like a spring of living water. His circulatory pathways, which had dried up, began to flow. Color returned to his pale face. There seemed to be a glimmer of gold in his old, cloudy eyes. Changes began to take place in his limbs, organs, skin, muscles, and hair. Gregory's frail old body quickly absorbed the vitality of the golden energy. Soon, his white hair slowly turned black, and his wrinkly skin gradually became smooth and supple. His muscles and bones strengthened, and the internal injuries and other discomforts within him faded away. It was like he was being born anew. What miraculous effects! All of them were surprised to witness Gregory's changes. The Longevitum did not only heal him, it completely transformed him. Gregory had been weak, frail, and hunched, looking like a haggard old man. But now, he was strong and muscular, and looked youthful. He had a commanding presence to him, and was energized. He looked like a new person. Just standing there without doing anything, he exuded an authoritative aura. I feel great. Gregory laughed heartily as he stretched. The joints in his body popped. The Longevitum was truly miraculous. Not only did it heal Gregory of the celestial decay, he was even given a new life. What a surprise! How do you feel, Gregory? Dustin asked. Amazing. It feels amazing. Gregory could not wipe the grin off his face. He could feel the vitality pulsing within him. The Longevitum not only saved my life, it even cleared all my blocked circulatory pathways. Though I'm not as powerful as I was in my prime, I feel like I've regained at least 70% of my powers. That's great. I'm relieved to hear that you've recovered. Dustin sighed in relief. After being worried for so long, he could finally be at ease. All his efforts had not been in vain. His hard work had finally paid off. Now that Gregory was cured of the celestial decay, his next action would be to get revenge for his deceased mother. Not only would he challenge Nestor to a duel, but he would also find out the truth about everything that had happened in the past. No matter who the instigator was or who he had backing him up, Dustin would not go easy on them. One day, he would take the head of the person behind the scenes to his mother's grave to appease her soul. Just then, Dustin's phone rang. He picked it up to hear Sheila's panicked voice. "Dustin, something terrible has happened. My father's severely hurt, and his life is in danger. None of the doctors know what to do. You're the only one who can save him now. Please, you must save my father." Caden lay unconscious in a VIP ward in East Swinton Hospital. He was pale, and his breathing was weak. His heartbeat was slow, and his body felt cold to the touch. At a glance, he looked like he was dead. A group of specialists were in the ward, whispering among themselves. They were discussing his condition and thinking of all the possible treatment methods they could use. But after a long time, they came up with nothing. None of them could suggest a treatment plan. Lily, Sheila, Vivian, and Evan stood at the side. There was nothing they could do except panic. "Dr. Johnson, how's my husband's condition? Can you treat him?" Lily finally asked after seeing how they had discussed for a long time and yet still unable to come up with anything. "Mr. Caden's condition is weird. We've gone through all our medical books, but couldn't find any condition matching his symptoms. Our hands are tied." Dr. Johnson, the most senior among the doctors, shook his head helplessly. He had never seen such a condition before, so he didn't know how to treat Caden. "What? If you can't treat him, who'd be able to?" Lily was flustered. She had contacted the Stone Ray Order, but Dr. Watkins was out of town, and he wouldn't be back anytime soon. The elders that the Stone Ray Order had dispatched didn't know how to treat Caden either.